in New York today. We pulled you out of your hometown.
Yep.
Donald Trump, we'll get to that in a second with the jury officially being chosen there. But Mick, Columbia University, you spoke there recently, I think a couple of months ago, give or take. What's the right response?
Yeah, I spoke there and I was very well received, to make things perfectly clear.
Okay.
The right response is to allow them to protest until they start interrupting something else. They interfere with somebody else. We talked about this on the show a little bit last night, okay? Protest, great. It's what students have done in this country forever. They start blocking roads, they start blocking bridges, they start assaulting people. That's a different story. So I don't know what's happening on the ground in Columbia, in New York, but clearly the president of the university thought that this was getting out of hand.
Agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a basic, statement of constitutional rights here. But what I think is interesting is how everyone is forgetting that Hamas is a foreign terrorist organization. And when it comes to FTOs, and there's only about 60 of them, our constitutional rights actually fundamentally change. You are not allowed to provide material support to a foreign terrorist organization. Now, you can exercise your free speech rights, but you can't materially support them in a manner that's recruitment or anything that actually actively helps them. People have gone to jail for this for decades. And when it comes to many of these protesters, I am certain that they are not tracking this. And at times, it does seem that they are flirting with it.
So Hamas, named by the State Department October 1997, so we're talking 26, 27 years ago, that it was labeled, as you rightly point out, a foreign terrorist organization. So when you hear someone there on the street say, "We are Hamas," now granted, she doesn't speak for everyone.
I mean, she's allowed to say that. She is allowed to say that. But the issue here, though, is that I'm not certain she understands, or maybe she does, the line that she is abutting against. After 9/11, I'm certain that even if people felt some weird sense of sympathy to those overseas who had attacked us, they would have understood that it was illegal to align yourself with Al-Qaeda in a fundamental and substantive manner. There are no tiers on the FTO list.
Right. You're either on it or you're not.
You are either on it or you are not.
Right.
And Hamas is a foreign terrorist organization, and we have to, and it is their responsibility, I believe, to start to separate what is a legitimate discussion about the future of the region and relationships between Palestine and Israel and Hamas, which is a terrorist
organization. Max, that's a law enforcement thing, and I get that. I agree with everything you said. It's right, okay? But the university is the one who shut this down, not law enforcement. So clearly they were doing something that violated the university rules. The university would never arrest somebody for supporting Hamas. That's what law enforcement does. They probably did something on campus, interfering with people's ability to get to school, closing buildings, that type of stuff. So the university shut this down, not the government.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want us to get into a society where we are all existing in safe zones, right? And, if you shut down this or you shut down that, there used to be a day where that would actually grab someone's attention. I say that as someone who's an avowed supporter of Israel. So we can't swing to the other end of the spectrum here, where we don't have dynamic circumstances. But this is the last thing I'll say on this. Columbia University does have a legal responsibility, and it's probably in their codes too, to not allow their students to express avowed support for a foreign terrorist organization.
Live look at Columbia University, by the way, Denise.
I mean, I think of how universities bend over backwards to accommodate the sensitivities of everyone except for the Jewish student population right now. That's what it feels like, is finally there's a university president that's stepping up and saying, hey, put yourselves in the shoes of those poor students. There was, I think, 3,200 anti-Semitic acts that occurred in the 3 months after October 7th. And to think that this is just an expression without consequence to people, students who have to walk through the quad and go to class, and they're supposed to be able to focus on their studies and be a productive person and embraced and part of the community. It boggles my mind that in these institutions that claim to be for everybody, they're for everyone but select few.
Did Columbia and Google got this right?
Well, I think
Two different, I know, but did they both get it right?
You have to look at the context for each, right? You have to understand that Columbia University has a responsibility to protect their students, but they also have a responsibility to promote and foster free speech. And when you look at what these students were saying, whether it was what we wanted to hear them say or what we think was right to say, they have a right to express themselves. And so I think that it was important that the university protect these students' right to express themselves. However, they felt about the speech is really irrelevant. But I do think they also have a responsibility to protect their students as an institution of higher learning. So I think that they took actions that I think across the country we might find other universities taking, and they'll be in the line of fire for it.
All right, elsewhere. Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.